Travis, I appreciate you making some time for us early this morning. You called Trevan Brazile the most naturally gifted player potentially in the transfer portal. He commits, signs with Arkansas as of yesterday. What is Eric Musselman getting in this guy?
Yeah, he's getting a 6'9", long, athletic forward. Again, he's so gifted naturally when it comes to those physical tools. Not many guys are frankly born with, but just tremendous amount of potential. And obviously Eric Musselman's the transfer whisperer, and he just finds ways to develop guys, especially transfers, and get the most out of them. And so this is one with some serious NBA potential.
Travis, Arkansas is up for one of the institutional NIL programs of the year. Flagship looks like has really been making some waves, especially in the basketball program. What have you been hearing about Arkansas NIL involvement in recruiting in basketball?
Yeah, the NIL pitches have been extremely successful from what it sounds like. The Arkansas fan base is one of the most passionate fan bases in the country. I don't think the nation fully realizes it. And with that, and how much they love that basketball program, comes a lot of opportunity for these kids to profit. And I think they've been able to show examples of how players within the program have been able to succeed. And it's caught the eye and attention of a lot of these elite recruits, starting obviously with your hometown, or not necessarily hometown, but in-state star, Nick Smith. I think the NIL pitches, not only just with Arkansas, it has become important, but I think that's become like the topic that these recruits come in kind of wanting to know about, is what is the NIL kind of looking like here, what kind of opportunities will I have? And Arkansas has absolutely crushed it, it seems like.
When you look at next season, and if someone said, hey, give me you're way too early, 1, 2, 3 for SEC basketball next year, where would you have Arkansas, considering everything you just said, knowing the recruiting class? I know the portal's not done for Arkansas or other programs, but where would you consider Arkansas right now amongst the league's elite?
Yeah, personally, I don't. It's a lot of pressure, but I frankly would have them at the top. Musselman's a tremendous coach, and they got the best recruiting class coming in. So, and he's going to continue to add to that with these transfers. So, where it stands right now, I would take Arkansas at the top.
Why do you think it took Eric Musselman maybe so long to find his niche, if you consider this his niche, because he's having a lot of success at Arkansas? He wandered around professional basketball. That's what his dad did for years. He was the coach at Nevada, but he's a guy still in his mid to late 50s. Why do you think it took this long in his career path to maybe find this level of success in college basketball?
Yeah, I don't really know the answer to that. He's a guy with just coaching running in his veins. Obviously, he's been through all levels of basketball. He just absolutely is obsessed with it, obsessed with winning. And he kind of made that move down to college, and he had instant success, it seemed like, and he found his own niche. Just speaking of his niches within this transfer portal, when he was back at Nevada. So, I'm not really sure how it took him so long to figure out that college is a place that he can come in and dominate. But, he's finally found it, and he's absolutely rolling right now.
Travis and Branham, 247 Sports here with us on the Morning Rush. Travis, Jordan Walsh went off yesterday. 23 points, 9 of 10 from the field, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and they beat Oak Hill Academy in nationals. I've watched this guy's play, 6'7", his athleticism's off the charts. You referenced Nick Smith Jr., the in-state kid. What have you thought about Jordan Walsh? Any chance that you've got a chance to either watch him play live or just watch highlights and watch film?
I've been watching Jordan live probably since he was a freshman. So I've been watching him very closely for many, many years. And when you're talking natural physical tools, again, like we were with Brazile, Jordan Walsh, there's not many guys with his natural physical tools in the 2022 class. I mean, his size, his length, his frame, how lean athletic, explosive he is. Just he's very gifted, and he plays with a motor. He has tremendous potential as a defender. He could be, if all things pan out, he could easily be the most elite defender in this class. And he's continued to improve his jump shot over the years. And since he's been with Link Academy this year, he's really improved his decision making. And so this kid, he's on the right trajectory, but there's just immense amount of potential still to tap into.
I know Arkansas fans were thrilled to see Anthony Black pull out the Razorback Red Powerade. Fans were kind of curious if he would decide on Arkansas. He did, and that addition was huge for this basketball program. When you look at that dynamic with Nick Smith Jr. and him next year, both guys to use to handle the basketball but play the combo guard and be off the ball, if you had to guess, who's going to play point guard majority-wise for this team next season?
I would assume Nick Smith will play point guard at the most next season. He's at this stage. He's a little bit tougher with basketball. He can maneuver a little bit better in tight spaces, and especially against SEC pressure. But again, Anthony will be able to service him alongside. Anthony will definitely be able to have the ball quite a bit, but the way Nick is able to handle the ball, pass, and create for others right now, I would say he'll be similar to J.D. Note in a lot of ways. So I would anticipate that Nick will have the ball a little bit more in his hands, but Anthony will still get plenty of his opportunities.
You mentioned J.D. For any team to have the success and maybe get to a Final Four next year, you got to have a good mix of veterans and these young players we went over. When you look at the veterans that Arkansas is hoping to bring back, which key or which person do you think? You mentioned J.D. Is it him, or is it Jalen, or is it Devo, or who do you think is the biggest key to the return of the veterans next year for Arkansas?
Obviously, if you bring back J.D. Note, that would be one heck of a backcourt with those guys and a lot of bucket getting. But Jalen Williams, I think, will be the most important. You gotta have that big man down low, and there's been some talks of him potentially going to the NBA draft. He's an absolute heck of a player. He brings so much energy to the floor. What he does defensively, how he gets his guys. He's just kind of a glue guy on both ends of the floor in a lot of ways. So I think he's a crucial piece. And so of everybody, he's the one that I think is going to be the most crucial returner. Yeah.
You saw Arkansas have the further success as far as advancing in the bracket in this out of the SEC. What's your opinion of where the SEC's at nationally right now? Getting a higher number of teams in than they were 5 years ago, but not having the consistent success late in the tournament.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time. There's a lot of new coaches, obviously coming in now, and there's been new coaches coming in recent years, but it's kind of been a weird place, for being honest. Auburn, Tennessee, both teams got a lot of, or more so Auburn, going to have to figure out a lot with this transfer portal. They're going to be losing a lot this year, probably going to lose Walker Kessler and Jabari Smith. So they're going to have to find a way. They just did land a big recruit yesterday in Johan Traore. But there's still a lot of pieces for them to figure out, just like they had to do last year after losing so many guys, and they did a great job in the portal as well. Kentucky is still trying to figure things out. They 2 bad years in a row, you could say. They obviously had a good regular season this year. But obviously you have the worst loss in program history, followed by the worst season in program history. So Kentucky's trying to figure some things out right now as well. LSU, obviously, some mass exodus down there. I think they've lost just about every single contributor to their team this year. So Matt McMahon's going to have his hands full. Florida, another rebuild. South Carolina, rebuild. Alabama, they're going to have to try to find some consistency. So, yeah, SEC's kind of in a weird place, but they're still extremely talented. They were a gauntlet this year, but when it comes to consistency, it may take a couple of years before we start seeing 4 or 5 more teams continue to get back into the NCAA tournament.
Travis, you probably have a great feel of what's going on in Kentucky right now, being in Lexington. You talked about the loss to St. Peter's, the season that never was last year, COVID a year before. It's been a while since Kentucky's actually made a run in the NCAA tournament. So I would ask you, how I know he's got the life contract and everything. I know he's getting football money, but it sure seems like the Kentucky fans aren't happy with Cal right now, the way the seasons have been going as of late.
Yeah, no. Like you said, I'm in Lexington. I have a lot of friends and family that are big Kentucky fans, and yeah, I frankly have never seen Kentucky fans this upset with John Calipari. They're demanding some changes, and people are very unhappy and wanting to see some sign of hope right now, because that historically bad season 2 years ago during COVID, that kind of put a dagger into a lot of people's hearts. And so this year was like a kind of a redemption year for them. And then the way it ended with St. Peter's, I mean, there's a lot of hopeless feelings going around Kentucky, and so they want to have some good things start happening.
I would say it's almost the complete opposite here in Fayetteville. And to kind of go off that point, Arkansas, with this recruiting class they have coming in, with the additional transfer portals they could add, if Jalen Williams comes back, if everything goes right, if everything gets set up correctly heading into this season, Travis, what should the expectations be from the fans? Is Final Four too much? Is it right? I know sometimes it's just about matchups in the NCAA tournament, but what should fans' expectations and what would your expectations be at this basketball team next season?
Expecting a Final Four out of any team, I think those are always extremely high expectations, because people don't really realize how extremely difficult that is. But I would personally expect them to be in contention again to win the SEC next year. That would be my immediate expectation. And then also the expectation of that is an actual team that can go on a deep run, but I would never set the expectation that this is they will go to the Final Four, if that makes any sense. But I think part of the reason is too, you have a lot of freshmen coming in, so that's going to take a little bit of time for them to figure that out. Just like this year's team had a lot of new guys. This Arkansas team had a lot of new guys, so they had to figure out some bumps in the road early. So I think there could be a little bit of that next season with just Nick Smith, Jordan Walsh, Anthony Black, Trevan Brazile, like just so many new guys, young guys that are going to be coming in, and it's going to take them a little time to kind of find that cohesiveness and figure out how to compete at the highest level of college basketball. And then, again, they fully will have the talent to make a deep run along with the coaching when it comes March.
Travis, let me close here. Arkansas and Kentucky have not played 2 games in the regular season since 2014. And the expectation, at least from my perspective, is when the schedule comes out, there's only going to be 1 game, and that is in Rupp Arena. And I know that each team has their 3 teams that they play twice a year. But with everything going on with Arkansas basketball, with Kentucky being where it is, wouldn't that be something, if you're Hunter Yurachek, the Arkansas athletics director, if you're Greg Sankey from a television perspective, that you want this game played twice, once in Fayetteville and once in Lexington every year from now on?
Yeah, I would absolutely want that. I mean, I think everybody from the fans all the way to the top TV executives, even if you're going all the way up to ESPN, I think every single person would want that. The only people who may not want that are the coaches having to coach those games and go into those environments. I think those would be the only hang-ups, to be honest with you. That would be a whole lot of fun to see 2 of the top teams with 2 of the best fan bases, most passionate fan bases, go head-to-head, especially when they're both playing at such a high level with how Arkansas has just kind of exploded up to the top in recent years. So, yeah, I think everybody from the bottom to the top absolutely wants to see that happen.
Travis, we'll leave it there. Really appreciate your time this morning. Great insight, not just on Arkansas basketball, but also from a national and SEC perspective. And hopefully when Arkansas has another big-time commit in the coming year or so, we'll get you on again and get your perspective on it.
Sounds great, man. Enjoyed coming on. Appreciate you guys having me.
Finally here, the top teams in college basketball have been determined, and the Final Four is set. Looking to wager on these games or the national championship? Head over to betonline.ag on your desktop or your mobile device and sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BLEAV to get started. That's BLEAV. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all your updated odds and info, along with player props and new contests throughout the year. It's the best source for all your sporting wagering needs, including live betting and everyone's favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so join today. Learn why everyone is saying BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.